What's going on, y'all? Hope you've been living right. Today we are going over my gear and stuff, tackle gear that I bought for the 2023 season. But first I gotta say thank y'all for watching this video and leaving comments, because a lot of things changed this year. I am not really working, but I went out and bought stuff from other companies. Like y'all had said, I need to branch away from 6th Sense. There are other companies out there that offer different different things and opportunities to try different aspects, I guess you could say. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but well, you know what I mean. I went to different companies, bought their stuff to try out and see what kind of things they have to offer. There we go, that's what I was thinking, to me in the fishing world. So with that said, I still buy 6th Sense stuff. I love 6th Sense. My whole lure base is based around them, and there are holes within 6th Sense that I wasn't able to fill that I filled with these other companies, and some aspects I just want to try out. So with all that said, thank you for clicking in the video, and I do listen to y'all and I do try to do what y'all suggest for the most part. Now for the people that tell me I need to get bent and turn my channel off, that's not going to happen, so deal with that. Next is this right here. I'm gonna throw up this picture right here. That's the hull of my boat, the very bottom. I came across it when I was checking my axles and stuff yesterday, and yeah, that looks like something's trying to get out of my boat, and it's underneath my live wells, and I don't know what caused that, but that is in the weld of my hull that keeps the two halves together. And yeah, I don't know if that crack keeps going or if it just happens to be a burst in that spot, and why it bursted, God knows. I kind of chalked it up to an aspect that somehow it got damaged at factory. It would explain that aspect of me getting water in the bottom of my boat when it shouldn't have had water in the bottom of my boat. But we'll see what they say. I'm expecting the worst, that they're going to total it and I'm stuck without a boat, and I'll have to do something for my tournaments and, you know, making content for y'all. I mean, kayak, not all this stuff's gonna fit in kayak, so I gotta figure something out. And speaking of tournaments, if you live in Minnesota in the Twin Cities or just south of it or around it or whatever, and you want to fish some tournaments, AFS Fishing Trail Series, I'll leave a link down in the description, their Facebook and their webpage. Y'all go check it out if you want to get into some tournaments. We fish on Sundays, and we just have a blast. A bunch of everyday fishermen that want to go out and fish. There are some people that do a lot more competition or tournaments than others, so they have the experience, and everyone's willing to work with you, you know, help you broaden your aspect of fishing. I mean, hell, here I am doing YouTube videos of these tournaments, showing people how I'm winning these tournaments and how I come close to winning these tournaments and coming up with the weights. So I mean, it's pretty neat. And you know, I don't say all the names of the lakes, only some of the bigger ones that get fished heavily anyhow. So yeah, if y'all are interested in that, go check it out, and hopefully we'll be fishing together. There's like 5 or 6 spots still open, and they're capping us at 12 boats this year. There's some kind of rules and regulations through the DNR that's causing this to happen, and I don't know quite why, but that's up to the trail director and what's going on. I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna go ahead and get into this. And like I said, everything is gonna be in chapters down in the description. Y'all can skip to it, check it out. But first, we're gonna talk about the company. I'm wearing the sweater. Kistler rods and reels. Phenomenal company. I purchased some of their rods earlier in the winter, and I held them in my hand, and it was like, oh my God. They make a premium line of rods. They have rods from $99 up to $500, which, you know, they always throw sales on, so don't let that number freak you out at all. And also, I contacted them asking them if there's a way for me to help y'all save some more on these premium rods. They decided to work with me a little bit. And they gave me a chance to prove myself on this aspect, and hopefully it becomes a step in the right direction to work with this phenomenal company. And that is a promotion code to save y'all 10% extra on all their conventional rod and reels, apparel, stuff like that, except fly fishing stuff. And I'm pretty sure if you're here, you're not concerned with fly fishing. But I mean, if you like fly fishing, check that line out. But the F&R code will not save you 10% on fly fishing stuff, just the conventional rod and reel stuff. So with that being said, I am going to show you some of the rods, and probably all the rods that I picked up from them and why I picked them up. The main reason why I picked up more is the weight of these rods. Phenomenal. They feel great in my hands. They are super light, and you can tell that they are just a quality rod. If you're just getting into it, or you're like, oh, just a $100 rod is good enough for me, do yourself a favor and go to a higher end rod. Now, like I said, Kistler throws these sales on. You can pick up a higher end rod at a cheaper price, and with my code, you can get it a little bit cheaper. And yeah, it's phenomenal. But I grabbed a bunch of different stuff. I'll try to leave the price points of these rods as I'm showing them, because I don't really remember how much a lot of them cost. But first, we're going to start out with this one right here. This seems to be their midline of their reels, or rods, should I say, the Kistler KLX series. If I'm right, these are what, like a $250, $220 rod, or $200 rod. I don't remember. I'll leave it right here so you get an idea. They got cork handles, Evo foam butt, Evo foam on the tightening nut right here if you like to take your finger and put on it right there. It's light. I mean, I don't remember how much it was supposed to weigh, but I think they try to keep their rods around that 3 to 4 ounce throughout their whole lines. But the more expensive you get, the less it's going to weigh, and the more sensitive it's going to become. But this one right here, what is this one? This one is a 7'3" heavy. This is their technique specific rod for frogging and using big toads. That's why I got it. Technique specific, and to fill a gap in my boat that I was already just switching lures out, retying a different lure on if I felt the need necessary, and then swapping. I was wasting a lot of time cutting and tying in lures to adapt to the bass fishing that I was doing in a tournament. Because we all know how fast something can change throughout a day, and you need to switch up. And I got tired of cutting a jig off to tie a frog on, and then going back from a frog to a jig when I came up to a bunch of docks and not so much grass mat. Next, if you followed my channel last year and saw my championship video that I did, the last one, I crushed them on a jerkbait, and they have a jerkbait specific rod. What I really like about this rod and a lot of their stuff that they have is they have a light medium heavy, which is still medium heavy backbone, but the tip is a touch lighter than a regular medium heavy, and it allows you to either work a bait or load up on a fish a little bit more before the fish feels it and you crack the whip on them. I wanted to step away from medium rods. I used one last year and it did great, but the problem was when I set that hook into that fish, even with 10-pound test, the bow came all the way to my reel seat, and I figured, well, instead of having that much bend in a rod, might as well switch over to a medium heavy and see how much better that handles the fish. Right here is more of their cranking rod right here. The Feel and Reel, I think. Yeah, Feel and Reel rod. This is a fiber, or what am I thinking? Fiberglass and carbon blend. Fiberglass tip for that sensitivity for, you know, feeling a jig or a rattle trap, or feeling your bait work down there in case you get something on it. With the carbon fiber blend, it comes into the backbone pretty quick, but this is a moderate action rod, which soft tip, hook setting power right about here where it blends in together, and then the working of the whole moderate action of the rod to keep that fish pinned with treble baits. treble hook baits, you know, your crankbaits, lipless baits, and stuff like that. That's why I picked this rod up. And I mean, that one, it prices out at, wow, goodness, I think just under 200, I think. I don't remember. I put it up anyhow. Up next is another KLX rod right here. This is a 7'6" extra heavy rod. This is for punching heavier, thick mats, you know, lures, extremely heavy lures. This rod goes up to 4 ounce. It's a moderate action rod. Basically to, you know, use for glide baits, swim baits. That's going to be mostly a rod that I let my co-angler use. If he likes it, he'll end up purchasing that one off me, because I do have a rod for that technique. I got that because he was asking about it, and he's not too sure which way he wants to go with it. And I don't mind having an extra rod. Next is this right here. This is their second from the top of the line. Their Helium Series rod right here. As the name suggests, this is extremely light. I mean, unbelievably light. And I mean, it's the same handle aspect, Fuji reel seats, the Evo foam butt and lock, the nut, but the weight is completely different on it. And this rod is a 7-foot medium heavy rod. I wanted a light medium heavy, but they were sold out, so I picked this one up. This is going to be mostly for throwing weightless to 3/16 or 5/16 weighted jigs, Texas rigs, finesse jigs, and Cincos. It's something else. It feels great. It's a fast action rod. It doesn't have the tip that I was hoping for, but they were sold out, and I figured, well, what the hell, give this one a shot. Should still do the trick. And that, yeah, that one I think is a little bit more pricey. I think that one falls around that $275 range. I've already put the price up, so you already know. I'm just thinking a little late out of the box. This one right here, same grip, same everything here. As you can tell, it's a little shorter of a butt section, but this is their Z-Bone rod, their premium rod. This is a $550 rod that they had as retail originally. They have sales going on right now, so you can pick it up at a lower price. And remember, if you use FNR, you can save 10% on that. This rod is a 7'3" heavy fast action rod, kind of like that frogging rod. But this right here, I am using just for jigs, skipping docks with jigs, and maybe throwing some in lighter cover aspects. I got a heavy instead of an extra heavy this time, because my 6 cents rod I'm using right now is an extra heavy, and I feel like I was losing a few fish because I wasn't able to keep a little bit more bend into it. A lot of people tell me go to a medium heavy, but I don't want to go that light because I'm in situations where I'm not willing to risk it for the biscuit type thing. I want to get these fish out from underneath docks and stuff as fast as possible. Phenomenal rods. I love the weight. Never held a rod much heavier than, or you know, as light as these. And yeah, we'll see what sensitivity is and everything on those. I will do a video on these rods and post them up, letting y'all know exactly what I think of sensitivity, the way they feel, and how they feel in your hand while using, because the weight is unbelievable. To go with those rods, I picked up reels. Now, Kistler has reels. They have a Series 2, Series 1, and a Chromium series of reels. And as those series go up, prices go up. But this is a Series 2 reel right here in their 100 spool size. And I gotta say, the way these feel, incredible. I mean, I would put the feel and functionality of it better than the SLX and the Shimano. I mean, it feels phenomenal. Now, I haven't used it to fish yet, but the way it feels, the way it works right now out of the box is awesome. So if y'all are looking for left-hand crank reels and you don't want to drop a huge dime on brand name aspect. I mean, Shimano, I love Shimano. I've said it before. They're a great reel company, but I'm trying different ones. So I'll let you know what I think of these. And from what I'm feeling and seeing right now, this is awesome for their low end aspect. $100 for this reel. And this is their 100 series. And the reason why I went with that is this right here. They offer a BFS system spool for these reels. Now, I don't know much about BFS systems, but the reason I got it was the depth of that spool right there. Now I can run fluorocarbon and less of it, so if I'm skipping docks and I feel the need, I need fluorocarbon instead of braid, this right here, if I backlash, I can get out of it. You can get the backlash out very quickly. So that's why I picked this up right here to go inside the reel. I mean, the difference is massive. I think they say at 12-pound test, you can only put 95 yards on here. So, I mean, it's a lot less than, 200 yards, I think is what goes on the 100 series of just filling the spool up. So, that's pretty awesome. And it comes in these nice box. So, all I have to do is, if I want braid, I can keep it. If I want the fluorocarbon, I can pull it out of this little package, have it spooled up, ready to go. This at the ready at any time. That's my thoughts and theories of the whole thing. Extra spools that go into reels. Instead of having more reels, you can actually just get spools, spool them up, and then you can change out your line on the spools. That's freaking awesome. They got a little magnetic stopper here, got your tensioner over here. Standard bait caster on most things. They're Series 2, 100 bucks, can't beat it. I'll do a review on what I think of them throughout the year, and hopefully, they should do just fine. They feel quality made, that is for sure. And that the guys there at Kistler have really put their heart and soul into all this, and they demand that the quality stays there. So I am happy to be working with them this year, and can't wait to actually try all this stuff. If you're interested in it, like I said, F&R will save you 10% on their website. And yeah, we're going to keep moving on with everything now. We're going to go to line. What line will I be using on these new rods, reels, and my other rod and reels that I have? If I throw a spinning reel this year, I got some Suffix 832 Advanced Braid. I think is what it is. Advanced Supreme line. It's their high-vis yellow braided line. If I go walleye fishing this year, I like the high-vis line for running bobber systems, slip bobber systems. That way, if I got people fishing with me, or if I decide to start guiding this year and I'm using live bait, everyone can see the line clearly, and you're less crossing over and stuff like that. For all my bait casters, I'm switching over from Sunline that I was using last year to Seagar Invisalign. I got some 17-pound and 600 yards, 20-pound in 600 yards, because I used this on my glide and swim bait rig last year, and that's what made me switch over to it. Never broke off once. Well, I'll take that back. I did break off a draw from 6 cents, but I think that big draw was a bit much for 20-pound test, especially in fluorocarbon. If I'm throwing the draw again, I'm going to switch over to a monofilament for some stretch and longevity of casts with it, and make it 25-pound test. So yeah, I think I said that. And a 1000 spool size of 12-pound, because 12-pound is what I use the most of. For underneath the dock with the weightless setup, I'm going to throw the Red Label. They say it's more abrasive to nicks, cuts, and breaking off, stuff like that. Abrasive resistance, I think it's called. And yeah, I'm going to try that, because it's going to take a little bit more to get them out with 12-pound test, but I want to keep the pound test light enough so I can still cast the weightless stuff. And then I was messing around looking at Power Pro, and I was trying to buy more bulk than, 165 yards or 200 yards of their line, and I came across Beyond Braid in their camo aspect. Now this is 2,000 yards of 50-pound braid from Beyond Braid, and it only cost 90 bucks. So I figured I'd give it a shot. I got, what, a couple years of usage here. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it does. I'm pretty sure it will. Otherwise they wouldn't promote it as well. I haven't heard many bad things. I haven't heard any bad things about Beyond Braid. It hasn't been out too long, I don't think. I don't know how long it's been out, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to try it this year. Next, where do we want to go? Baits. All right, let's terminal tackle, baits, stuff like that. I was at Cabela's and I picked up some different style hooks to help with some things. I saw on YouTube, a YouTuber, professional fisherman, he was talking about these ringed wide-gapped hooks and how they helped his hookup ratio when punching or anything like that using a Texas rig where the weight comes down. Because when that weight slides down and it hits that knot on that hook won't move all that much. And I noticed last year that I would roll a couple fish off. They'd start jumping, spinning, and everything, and they come off the hook. And this is supposed to eliminate that. That ring is supposed to keep that hook free floating. When that weight comes down and hits that ring, it doesn't stop the hook from moving around. So it allows it to move around a little bit more, a lot more actually, than a regular hook with the weight slamming down to it. Because once you start getting those heavier weights, it holds, especially when you're yanking it up through stuff. Picked up some weedless wacky rig hooks to be able to throw wacky rigs underneath docks and stuff, and hopefully won't snag up on everything underneath it, like chains or a bar I can't see. Yeah, that was a nightmare last year, and I ended up throwing Texas rig, which is fine, but I wanted the action of the wacky rig and just wasn't willing to keep busting off hooks. Tokyo rigs. I've never used one before, and I've heard about them, but I've never seen anyone use them, so I'm going to try it out this year. I think it'd be awesome to keep that creature bait just off the bottom, or if I decide to do a power shot and don't want the bait real high from power shotting thicker mats or something, I think I'm going to try that. I'm going to see what happens with that. And that's pretty much it for that terminal tackle. As for bait companies that I decided to go try new stuff at, right here, Battle Baits. They're out of Missouri. I have someone I know on Facebook that pointed me in their direction, so I'm trying them out. And they got a lot of neat stuff there in colors that I found pretty cool. I picked up 2 inline buzz baits right here, and one in a shad and one in a bluegill color. Picked up like 3 jigs from them. This is what they flip and what they consider flip and pitching with. Jigs, and I mean, I got a green pumpkin. It's got a little purple in the head, and I think that's the same one, just in a different weight. One's 1/2 ounce and the other one's 3/8. I have a bluegill candy color. I mean, a little bit of purple, a little bit of orange with some watermelon green, and then black and blue. You can't go wrong with black and blue. I always have black and blue in my boat because you never know when you get to that dirty water. Then we have this right here. Their version of a chatterbait, I think, is what they were going with on this. I got this in a shad color right there. It's pretty neat looking. It's got its blade for the chatterbait aspect, and they also put a little propeller on it, which is pretty neat. I guess to help disperse water as you're pulling it through. Ouch. Very sharp hooks, very sturdy. They feel well made. And then because 6 Cents wasn't out, didn't come out with any of their spinner baits yet, I picked up 2 of them. Picked up that bluegill candy color and a, what I guess you would say spot remover when it comes to chatterbait color. I don't remember their colors, and they don't say it on the package, I don't think, so I don't remember what it is. But they're all hand tied, hand poured, I think, handmade lures from Battle Baits. They seem very well made, and can't wait to start cranking on them. Those spinner baits and that chatterbait, I mean, I can use right away for smallmouth here around me, and that's what I think I'm gonna do if I get my boat back. So yeah, I got them. And then while I'm messing around on the old TikTok, I came across this guy, bait maker, that sells baits, and he's all over. Motivated Bait Co. He has his own designs. These are a swimmer that he has. They don't have boot tails. They got kind of that hook shaped tail. I forgot what you call it. So I got two of those. I got a red crawl and a green pumpkin. And it was some kind of package he had thrown together. And he threw in this from this company. This is a sweet potato Cinco color. Never seen anything like that. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna give that a shot. I think it'll work. And then you have his version of a crawl imitator, creature bait. He calls it a Revelation Crawl. This is in an Arkansas crawl color. Is his name, or the color name he came up with. Goodness sakes. And then this Bracello jig that he sells to match up with his Revelation Crawl, and then this Jaltech bed fishing bait. I've never seen it before, but we will give it a shot this year. That should be very, very interesting. And yeah, for the two smaller bait companies, that's who I'd found, and some stuff I picked up from them. I can't wait to try. Like I said, I didn't buy a whole lot, but it was stuff to fill voids in my thing, or just to try different companies. Next, we have a company that everyone kind of knows already, but I went with big baits outside of two. I wanted to update my jerk bait selection, so 13 Fishing, I was messing around and I picked up two of theirs. They have this lavender jerk shad and a, perch color jerk bait. Their Whippersnapper 110 is what they call it. They have weight transfers in it, rattles, that help you cast it further, stuff like that. So we're going to try that. Dives down to like 9 foot, I think, depending on what size line you're using. If y'all remember last year, or if you saw that video, I'll leave it linked down in the description too. I was using 6 cents sweep, so they're 6-inch sweep, fishing brush piles and stuff like that, early post-spawn or pre-spawn bass, and I was tearing them up. I caught some nice monsters, a lot of 4-pounders and 3 high 3s. So I was messing around on 13 Fishing, and I came across these little buggers right here. Little 5 1/4 inch length bluegill. They're about 1.5 ounces. I plan on throwing these around, giving them a shot. So y'all stay tuned for that video. Hopefully I can get out and fish with them at the right time, depending on what this weather does. And then what I was hoping to throw this weekend, right here, the big old wedge-tailed trout from 13 Fishing, 9 inches long, almost 6, 5.5 ounces, just over 5.5 ounces of weight. Yeah, I was hoping to throw those for some monster smallmouth that we have in a lake around us, and giant largemouth as well. And then I picked up a Concept A2 reel from them for fishing docks and stuff. It's in an 8-to-1 gear ratio. Like I said, I wanted to try other companies, and so I did. I picked this up. Feels awesome. I love the way it feels. Great in the palm. I mean, it doesn't spin as freely as the Kistler reel does, but it has like 20 or 32 pounds of drag lock, which, if you're punching mats or something, that's, you're gonna snap your rod. You put all that poundage to a rod. But yeah, that's why I got it. A high-speed pickup, so I can get my stuff out quick, and I can pick up my line real quick, because I did lose some fish because I couldn't keep up with them running at me, because when I set the hook, it was, I was sending those guys to the moon. So yeah, that is my 13 Fishing aspect of this gear. Now we're going to get into 6 cents. Like I said, I love 6 cents. I'm going to keep using them on my base. I have all my 6-sack bags right here. I got 5 of them from the last 5 months. When it comes to orders, this is all I've ordered from 6 Cents so far. Outside of a rod. I did buy a rod late in the season that showed up right when the water froze over. And just like that helium from Kistler, this is a 7'1" medium heavy rod that I bought for weightless Senkos and lighter stuff. And I mean, it has a stiffer tip, feels great. It has the micro guides, so I'm gonna keep this in my lineup in the boat just in case something happens to my other rod. The unfortunate event that something happens to that other rod. As a backup, it'd be nice to have. I mean, it's going to be an awesome rod any way you shape it. I will still use it. I will put a reel on it, but I will probably have it more as a backup in case something happens, or if I have another technique that I'm fishing real hard in that day, I'll have that one sitting on deck with everything else. When it comes to the baits, though, 6 Cents came out with some new stuff towards the end of the year that I really wanted to get, and then there's some stuff they had that I didn't have in my arsenal that I want to, develop and be more involved with, like their swim jigs. This is their just normal swim jigs that they have. I got shad color. I got a, what do they call this? A dark water gill, and then bluegill magic, and black and blue, because you gotta have black and blue for the swim jigs. Try test the waters with some of the swim jigs, because I do throw a lot of jigs under docks. Why not try a swim jig with a paddle tail or something on it instead of a crawl? Some days they're gonna hit those more than the other. Then I got some of these axle jigs in various sizes, from 3/8, ½ ounce, and I even picked up a 1 ounce one to try in thicker grass, heavier mats. Now these don't have the weed guards on them. These have a screw lock inside the head, and the hook moves on the head. Let me pull one out. Y'all probably already know, but if you don't know, this would be pretty cool for y'all to see. I've never used one. This will be my first year using it, so I'm interested in that. Right there, you can see the head moves right there. It has a little screw lock in it right there. You can see the screw lock, oops, right there. And yeah, your bait threads onto it and it becomes weedless, and that head moves. Now there is a way that they say to rig it up so you don't lock it and that head doesn't move. So we'll probably rig it up here in a little bit. I can't wait to try that. We'll see if my hookup ratio is a little bit better and keeps the fish pinned a little bit more with that. Yeah, here is another one, ½ ounce, same color. That was a 3/8 originally, so skipping under docks is a little bit easier, getting further back. Another 3/8 in black and blue. Then we got what they call their Divine Scrape Grass jig. I don't know what they mean by that, but got a couple of them, 3 of them to be precise, and they're all around that 1 ounce weight size, so I can punch grass. I think that's all these things are designed for, is getting through thicker stuff. It has its weed guard on it right there, and just a big old head on it, big old hook. But what's nice about this one, it comes with the screw lock here in the hook. So interested in seeing how this works in thicker stuff, because I will come up to some very tall cabbage or thicker grass, hydrilla, because we do have hydrilla in areas up here, milfoil, snot, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, got that in a bluegill fire and a black and blue aspect, or baby bluegill or something like that. That's not what I wanted to grab. And then I picked up some of these little rattle glass traps, or glass rattles, just to give me a little extra sound if I feel like my weightless Senkos need a little bit of sound, or a soft plastic, I need to get a little bit of rattle in. I picked up 3 packs of those to keep in the boat, because you never know when a little bit of noise can help you out. Right here is a little bit more soft plastic, I think, but I got some hard baits in here. Just like 13 fishing aspect, I picked up a few more jerk baits, 3 of them to be precise. And these are all deep divers right here. 2 Provoke deep divers. One is 4K bluegill there on the bottom, and the other one is a Shad Pro, because, you know, I got shad and I have bluegill, so cover my basis on the deep divers. I think they say they go 4 to 7 foot and they're 5/8 of an ounce. And we'll give it a shot. And then right here, I picked up a Provoke 106 Silent deep diver, and this one is in Table Rock Pro. I really like the color of it. It has its lavender on the top, shad scales on the side with a white to bone on the bottom with a slight chartreuse hue to it, which is pretty cool. Says it at the bottom, it's a silent 4 to 7 foot diver, which is pretty neat. We're gonna see what happens with that. I can't wait to try it. I got a old speed wake. I got another one in bluegilla. I had 2 of these last year, and I kept bouncing them off of docks, and I broke the bill. So if you want them to last, don't throw them into a dock, because the bills will break. And last but not least, 4 6 cents is the bongo. If y'all follow them, this is a new bait they came out with in the wintertime. They released it to sell in the wintertime, and I didn't buy them because what am I going to use a bongo for in the winter? I'm going to try these out instead of the stroker crawl. I do love the stroker crawl. I think stroker crawl is awesome, but we're going to give the bongo a shot on punching alone and putting on jigs and see if my bite changes any on these. Now, I like the stroker crawl because I can get that still in a June bug. I believe the June bug is a phenomenal color, and the stroker crawl has its own unique action. But I think this bait would do phenomenal. I got it in 4K sungill, 2 of those, 2 of the green pumpkin juice, and 2 of the black and blue. I'll pull one out. Let's rig this and see what we got on this old jig here. There we go. We got it. We grab our bluegill candy jig here, and the old axle. We'll find that screw lock real quick. There it is. We'll take our old bongo and we're just gonna thread it on right there, center it up. There we go. We got it right there. Keep everything pulled back on it. And they say you don't pull it tight. So you don't pull it tight because you still want that head to move. So you got to find that right spot. So there we go. We got a little bit of movement, maybe a little bit less, but I mean, you still got that. Got all that movement, all that action right there. Yeah, you can see it's wobbling back and forth. So maybe I did hook it up right. But yeah, that's pretty much how that one goes. We'll get all this figured out. There's a way to hook that thing up, but I mean, that looks pretty sweet and it matches up beautifully. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope the chapter aspect worked for y'all. And if it did, leave a comment, let me know. I'll try to do more about it. I'll do some reviews on the Kistler stuff, what I think about them, the feel, the action, all that stuff, what baits I feel work great on them. And I mean, it'll be my honest opinion. I mean, I'm switching up, trying out new companies, the reels, rods, baits, all that stuff. I'll let y'all know how it goes. If there's anything specific y'all want to see, drop a comment, and I will definitely try to get to it in the very limited amount of time I have to fish anymore with work working me 50 hours. But y'all take care, and until next time, y'all keep living right.